Does height matter?
No, I'm not talking about in a person or 5'8" or 5'9" is still tall enough. None of that.
I am talking about animatronic height.
Is a prop being taller and larger better? Is a prop being shorter and smaller worse? Well, it depends. On the contrary, making a prop taller or having a taller animatronic isn't really that much of a downside. It makes the animatronic more imposing. It makes it stand out more. It makes it, in a way, a lot scarier and just generally more imposing. It really depends on a sole purpose of a prop. It depends on the character. It depends on the animation. There's some props that are strictly made just to be tall, just to have that imposing height, and that's kind of its full personality, its full trait. There's some character-driven props that need size. Their character is supposed to be menacing. It needs more size, it needs more height to be generally more imposing to make sense for the character. There's some props where the animation needs to be huge to make it scary. It needs to go high.
Mr. Dark.
It needs to be tall to fully utilize the animation or to max out the potential of an animatronic. And then there's some props that don't solely rely on the height. They're more character driven, they're more pertaining to be realistic rather than just comically large for the sake of, trying to be more scary. They rely on, what makes sense for the character. A character doesn't need to be 8 feet tall, why would Rosemary be 10 feet tall? That just doesn't make any sense. They're pertaining to be more realistic and just be more human size, which in a way is scarier. I guess the real question I'm asking here is, bigger, taller, better? Especially with height, it's important to me because I do feel like the height changes a lot, positively and negatively. Same goes with smaller, more closer to life-size animatronics. Bigger the prop, it's likely going to be more in cost. 15-foot Phantom, he is $400 at Home Depot. Questionable cloth quality, I'm not gonna lie, but he is 15 feet. A typical life size, depending what store you get it from, can vary. If it's Morris or Spirit, they are typically more in price.
6-foot Toxic Clown for $50 more for a 312-foot skeleton.
But as a whole, typically, closer to life size is cheaper, but with that taller height, higher price, and the quality is improved. If it is a taller prop, usually from SVI, the quality is a lot stronger than a typical life-size prop. Stronger metal, stronger welding, weather resistant, weighs a lot more, and overall stability improved due to it being a lot taller, being able to catch more wind, so the bigger props have an ability to last longer and be, in harsher conditions than the typical life-size animatronic. So there is a quality and price increase on the taller props, but there's really another main thing that a lot of the taller props lack from life-size props currently, right now. That nozzles and 12-foot skeleton comparison I made, there is a reason I compared those two specifically. Nozzles has something skeleton lacks: personality and character. Most of the taller props we have currently don't really have much of a character and personality. They are mostly made and created for the sheer fact that it's large and tall. Would you buy the 12-foot skeleton or the 15-foot Phantom due to a character? Would you buy them if they were 8 feet, 7 foot, 6 feet tall? I don't think so. I'm assuming most of you would say no. And it's because the entire charm, the gimmick, is removed, which is being tall. Look at the wolf. He is kind of in between both worlds. He has more animation, character, per se, but he is closer to that huge tall prop size, being nearly 10 feet. It's almost like the smaller the prop, the better the animation and character we get. This is where I think most of the life-size props come in. Even though they lack the height and size, they make up for it in another way, whether it's the character, the animation, or both. Now, of course, not every prop needs to be 12 foot, 10 feet, 15 feet tall. There's clearly, once again, it has to make sense for the prop. Nozzles being 12 feet tall would not make any sense whatsoever. Although the price would make more sense if it was 12 feet, but it's 6 feet tall for $350. Now, of course, it is still groundbreaking that we are going up to these heights 12 feet, 15 feet, and hopefully one day 20 feet tall. In the near future, maybe 20-foot tall skeleton. It is still a groundbreaking technological advancement because we have never gone this tall before. These are experimental props at these heights. They achieve their sole purpose even with not really much of a character or personality at all. So I give them a break because it's probably a lot harder to produce due to the cost of some of these bigger props, trying to have more character, more design, more animations. There's a huge cost that is added to that. Because with the standard regular life size, It's a lot easier to add more animation because it doesn't have all the features of a tall prop. It doesn't have all the perks and cost of being taller and needing to be bumped up in quality. Taller the prop, they're gonna need, more focus on quality and lasting for a long time. But with that, we are already seeing Home Depot and other companies improving with the taller props, especially with animations and character. The 13-foot Jack Skellington is servo. That in itself is amazing because most life-size props aren't even servo. Cackles from last year, in my opinion, has more personality, a great design and character. The 12-foot witch quite literally is the best witch prop we have to date, ever, in my opinion. The idea of her floating on a broomstick. She has more movement, she looks great, she is just amazing. Clearly, it's already improving and breaking the barrier that has stood in between life-size to tall props. I'm excited for the future of tall props. I'm excited for the future of life size. I'm excited for the future of smaller props. It's just going to keep getting better.